Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Lexi. Blessings to you and and what you sent. Thank you so much. Shout out to you, little Pippi Lou. I love that name. Um, Welcome, everybody. There is a lot of development in the last 24 hours, both astrologically and I think a lot a lot of information, a lot of flow of looking at the world as we see it. And part of this is has to do with me peeking into 2022 for my own self and things that will be I'll be bringing up for 2022. It is going to be a very big unfolding year. And what I'm finding within my own self is a part of me that a frustration, a huge frustration with the world and looking at some place or someone to blame, for um the segregation. And we can point in many different directions. And I have and getting very angry. But it's coming to a point where these pointing the fingers is not helping. Arguments that we're trying to make um are not are really arguments that we're not going to win on either side. And as in Journey Club, and I always tell people the other person's always right. And that's a hard one. That's so hard because it's like you want them to wake up in everything that's been going on within our world. There's a lot of things we cannot deny. We cannot deny that this virus is not real. It is real. We cannot deny that it does not harm. Yes, it does harm some, and it does cause death in some. And I think that's what's scary because this is so new. It's a new type of illness that we've been under for the last 2 years, and of course a new one comes in, and then the fear is accelerated. But here's the within the last, and I posted this beautiful conversation with Paul Kingsnorth on my Facebook, and I've been listening to him for a bit. And I mean, the things that he is saying, because he's a writer, he's a poet, he's an activist in many rights, but he comes through with a lot of logic. And I love the conversation that he had um on the, what is it called, the Unheard. So the conversation that was with the Unheard. And the reason why it's so poignant to the energies that are coming in, it is getting you to look at our belief system and what we believe and the whole belief around freedom. And right now we are coming into a society that is very authoritative, very, you know, this authoritative means is coming down to create safety for people. And that's what they say, is to create safety. The more that we, press the thumb down, and for many it is just so that they want to, I feel like, to continue on their lives the way that they want to continue without um with blinders on. But here, the part of society that is, and I'm not a philosopher, I am not a highly educated person. I'm a psychic medium who comes in with information that either that has come across to me or things that have come to me in my dreams. And some of that might be very abstract for many people. But this is where I feel there is a where within our culture that we are redefining our culture on what our values are. And that's the whole thing with Venus going retrograde, with Uranus in Taurus squaring Saturn. It's about our values not only as individuals but our values as society, where we see ourselves. I don't see ourselves as total consumerism, like to consume, because if you really look at life and you look at, as we go through life, and of course as we're younger and as kids we want all these toys. I mean, I just did the Santa letter with Mateus, and of course, it's like, but I want this and I want this and I want this and I want all of this, and it's very much, as a young person, that's what you want. And in your 20s, you want that, all those beautiful things, and that handsome man or handsome woman, and to have sex and go out and frolic and enjoy life and embrace. I mean, that's, but as we get older, we begin to look at life with new eyes. We get to see things that it's not all the stuff. It isn't. Amazing that this comes around with Christmas. It's not all the stuff. And this is what all of this, we're a society that is a bunch of hypochondriacs, really, and very fearful. And we've come to a society that is a bunch of, who are afraid to eat certain foods and don't want to eat certain foods, and we're afraid to breathe the air. And here comes the virus that is just going to highlight it even more, right? And let's feed it into a supercomputer and they say, oh, let's create a virus kind of thing. And this is also where I it feels like the hand of God coming in and smacking us and saying, what is the true meaning of your life? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What is that meaning to it? And we've been, for so long, we've moved away from where we were a society that came together through Christianity. The Western culture is a culture that came together through Christianity, and it's still somewhat there. But that belief system of gathering in churches and gathering for church groups and doing those community things, we've grown from that. We pushed it aside. And then we came to a society, as Kingsnorth said, of of being of advancing and an advancement. The industrial age came, and all the technology, from the industrial age, which is in the 1800s. It happened in the 1800s, late, early 1800s, and carried on into the last 20th century, on all the advancements from cars to radios to the telegraph to the telephone to the TV to cell phones to computers to social media. All of that, and that development of the web, all of that throughout the whole 20th century. And now we're in the 21st century. We're in a time of redefining our culture, redefining our society, and we're feeling it immensely because we are all striving, and social media is really huge for this. We're all striving to find our tribe. We're all striving to find that place of meaning for one another. And then from that tribe, we're going to fight one another because of our beliefs. But this is where we come back to that mystic energy, because it is starting to make a reappearance, I feel. And where I've listened to a couple astrologers in that, because I've sort of like, yes, we're at the age of Aquarius. No, we're not at the age of Aquarius. And I honestly believe we're not at the age of Aquarius. We're at the cusp. We're at the cusp, where it's being, the Greeks have defined the ages as they changed. And we're at the cusp. We're not going to be there for another, say, 100 years or so. And we're at this cusp because we're still defining our own selves. We're still coming into that ether of energy, and that's what the Piscean energy is. It is that anything that we're at near the end of something, just like we're at the end of the nodes changing. We're at the end of Capricorn with Pluto. We're coming to an end there in the next couple years. There is dramatic energy. There is an intensity with that, and I feel that that's where we're coming into, and that's as we are coming into today, as Mars is meeting the South Node, that is very intense energy. And I know it personally because my Mars is on top of the Mars on top of the South Node. It is that intensity of I want this in a certain way, and I'm going to push up against this wall, and I'm going to make that wall move no matter what. But that's not, you can't make it move. It's not going to. You're pushing up against something that is unmovable. It's like pushing up against the Rocky Mountains. Let's go all, and we're going to push against the rock. We're going to push this mountain over. um I mean, it is one of those things that we have to come in and we have to reevaluate our value of society. And who do we value within society? Like, in this is going to floor you, but sales for Fauci shit is higher than toys for children. All the Fauci popcorn and masks and Fauci candles and Fauci, like, it's like this is where society, part of society, is gone. It's like he's saying this and this is happening. He is the Fauci Pope Fauci. And it's like, is that where we want to go with society? And the other part is where we have Elon Musk saying that in a year he's going to be able to microchip people's brains. Is that where we want to go as society? So there's this energy that's coming in of defining where we want to go and where we want to look at where our values are. Where is that energy that we want to define within our own selves and with those around us? What does that core essence mean? For me, it is family and friends, vaxxed or, elixired or on elixired. I don't care. That's the thing. Is like, I don't care about the elixir. But it's that definition that is put on that. It is when that is put in as a division for who is better than the other, who is greater than one than the other. That's where my frustration comes in. That's where my anger comes in, where this person has all the answers. And it's like, really? But are they coming with answers that are inclusive for everybody and does not leave anyone out? Does it come in where we dine with everyone, even the bad witch? And we bring them all in to the dinner table to hear what they have to say. But here we are at a place that is tipping, right? 1984 book. Yes, Lise. Yeah. I mean, they've already microchipped people's hands for different corporations for them to enter and exit the building and being able to utilize different systems. So they're able to swipe their hand. And so there's people who've already been chipped. And then that chip can be activated to a higher level or a lower level. So if you get a raise, they can add into your chip that's in your hand so that you will have more access to different things within the corporation. I mean, it's been happening for some time, but this is like, are we wanting to go into the metaverse and the matrix? Is that where we want to go? So this is where we come together, and this is where, with that south node with Mars, it's explosive. It is, I call it, it is one of it's up there in the top 5 of transits that are not exactly the transits you want to be experiencing, but we are experiencing this. We're experiencing this. And this is like getting us to really look at what isn't working, because the south node, especially in Sagittarius, is one of the rescuer, wants to be rescued. It's the victim. I want to be rescued from this. Show me the way. Show me something better. Show me where I can go. And then we have where Sirius is on the North Node in Gemini, and Sirius is the energy of rebirthing and planting and agriculture and coming forth, and is and truth. Is saying, well, we can go this way. There's work to be done. There's work we have to do. But down here, it's like, no, but and Mars is there, and Mars is just like, yeah, let's just go, let's just do it. But it's where we have to slow down. This is caution. This is about healthy growth, not speedy growth. If anybody who does any planting, my dad used to get seeds. We used to go to the agricultural center, the research center in Summerland. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. The research center in Summerland, and he used to get seeds from all the trees and stuff like that. And he would come home and he would plant them, and he'd mix his own soil. My dad made his own soil and everything else, and we'd go downstairs, and he would um have it where, especially when it comes to lighting, like he made his own lighting for it, but he would have it where the lights weren't always on. And I thought that, you had to have light on the plants all the time so they grow, they grow, they grow. And he goes, no, because plants need, when they're growing from seed to grow their strength, they need some darkness. They need to be able to develop. And sometimes in that development, just like in the womb, there's no light in the womb, there's no light in the egg. It's dark. In order to do that growth. And I feel like somehow that's where we're at. We're at a place where there's, with this growth that we're doing, that we have to have a little bit of this darkness in order for us to see the light. If it's constant light, I mean, constant light is not good. It can burn you, right? So the sun, always having the sun, always having the sun, always having that heat is not always good. It's that balance. It is looking at where we need to have that strength, because if there is, when we're growing things, if we get too much light on it, we get spindly little shoots, and they don't have the stalk, they don't have the roots. And right now we're on unshaky grounds within this world. And this is an acceleration. There's such an acceleration to grow, to do. Let's do this. Let's go here. And here it's like it's to beware. There's a beware. There's a cautious energy that's coming in that is saying that we need to have stable and reliable. Mars is coming in like a cannonball, and it's in fire. So it's explosive. And so we're looking for that solid foundational energy that is coming, that we are wanting to bring in for our consciousness, the awareness, the awakening. And those are the little pieces and sparks that are coming in. We're not totally there yet. So this is looking at where, when we do get angry, when we do get frustrated, and it's like, the other day, and I posted something, and then somebody says, well, you're not love and light and everything else. And I'm like, okay. In some ways, maybe I definitely not, because I was like, I was angry. I was angry because somebody was being denied to just sit with her family and eat with her children. And I thought, that's what I'm angry about. I'm angry because of the law, or the so-called laws are causing separation. The so-called laws are making a division, which, when we want to get in, is the division of connection, of humanity, and bringing that division in and saying lesser and greater. And this is where that's where the anger comes from. That's where the frustration comes from. That's something I've seen, and I've talked about it all the way through 2020, through going through 2021, is that this is going to cause segregation. This is going to cause separation. And it's not that saying that maybe the vaccine is good or bad or whatever. I have my points on that. And especially when it's backed by something that is profitable and it's all about money. It's not about health. It's not about betterment of living a healthier lifestyle, and it's about something else. That's another frustration, of the whole thing. And the push that it has to be for everybody. It's a blanket pill here for everybody. That's the frustration too. And that's where the cultural higher value of society comes in. What is society worshiping, right? What are we worshiping? What is it that we want? For me, it's community. And that's where the light is. It's coming back into the community, into the light, into the earth, and coming into a foundation and having that foundation and not thinking I am better than or less than because of. I mean, we've tried to teach that for so long. That's going back to some basic words that are coming from a man 2,000 years ago, not a man who caused war. A man who came in and said, "Okay, come sit with me. Oh, you're a prostitute. Cool. I don't care." That's where the energy is. Not the energy of a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim or anything like that, but it is that of coming together without judgment. That is what we have to look at in society. That's what we got to look at within each and every one of us and understand our own frustrations and our own anger, because I know I have a lot of anger. I'm a Scorpio. My Venus is in Scorpio, so the madness comes out. My Mercury's in there. My madness comes out. My Jupiter is in Aries, so I want to bring in that. Yes, let's get this going. That expansiveness, right? And Mars being in, Sagittarius, I mean, it's wonderful, it's great, but it's not wonderful when they're conjuncting each other on the south node. And my sun is squaring Saturn right now in opposition to um Uranus. That's where my energy is right now. That's where my frustration, I could feel the frustrations and everything going on. And right now my you know, luckily my moon is not opposite Pluto. Thank God for that. Thank the heavens for that one right now. And in this retrograde energy, you know, we have to define our anger and we have to understand our anger in order for us to come to a higher value for what we want as society. Freedom is something that is just like love, it's very hard to define. It's very hard to define because we don't want to it's not about the individualism, right? Individually, I have the right to. You can't argue with somebody about masking or unmasking. It is people are going to have their point of views. Fine. But people should also have a choice. I mean, for myself, I'm supposed to be one of the ones at high risk. I'm not a slim, trim, sexy chick anymore. I'm a plump, round, short Irish woman who who has a little bit of size on her that considerably is more at high risk, but I'm not afraid. Same, with others. I'm not afraid because I know who I am. I know my body. I understand, but I don't put myself into crazy risk situations. I'm not going to try and risk somebody else's health. Definitely not. But I should have if I don't want to wear something, I shouldn't have to wear it. But that's part of where our value is and where our society's going. There's so many contradictions here. It's crazy, with it all. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to tell you a story that I watching an old Christmas show, and I thought this was hilarious with a new understanding of our value system, where how we've changed since this show came out, and it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So, if you remember way back when Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came, and when he was born, his dad tried to hide his nose and said, "Don't let anybody know. We want Santa to like you." So you started off with daddy bullying in this movie when you watch it, and then this poor little elf wanted to be a dentist, and it's like the senior elf is like, "No, that's stupid. That's a dumb thing for you to try and be." And so he's being downed for being different. He's not allowed to be a dentist. That's a dumb thing for an elf to be. And and they go off and they meet the Klondike guy who's jacked up on some kind of energy drink and just like, yeah, and he's out there, let's go, let's do this, yeah. And then they go and they find this abominable snowman and throw him over a cliff. And then they take out all his teeth so that he's not going to eat anybody. So this movie that is, there's a lot of trauma in this movie. I'm just like looking at this trauma. Even Santa didn't like Rudolph. It's like, whoa, your nose is too bright. What is that? You know, um, but that's the thing is that, when I'm watching this movie and I'm watching today's society, I'm just like, oh my God, this is just such a reflection on what's going on, how we want to be in control and we don't want that over here. But at the end of the day, they end up needing they need Rudolph to take with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? And the little elf ends up having his own dentistry in Elfville because everybody has bad teeth from eating too much candy. Oh, and they keep the abominable snowman around to put the star on top. It's just like watching that whole thing and seeing the how today it just, I mean, that story just wouldn't go. And the bullying and everything. Anyways, I thought it was quite funny and quite hilarious as watching the whole thing and then just sort of taking a step back and looking at that and Dasher, you're not being a very good dad, are you? Um it's just like that's not very nice. And Santa, you're supposed to like everybody. What do you mean? Why are you dissing Rudolph, man? And poor Rudolph's going off all sad with the elf who nobody wants because he's smart and intelligent and he wants to help people to have better dental health. I don't know. It's kind of funny when you look at the old movies and you're just like, "Whoa." It's like the story of Mistletoe also, and, when I was researching more about Mistletoe and how, coming around and how they would hang it so young maidens would have to kiss him. Well, why should she have to kiss him? She doesn't want to. But it was frowned upon if a young maiden didn't allow him to have a little peck on the cheek kind of thing. It's just like, ugh. So, you know, a lot has changed in a very positive way in helping us to reinforce one another within self-esteem. And flipping this around, that's partially what we're going to be seeing within our own society, because it's that mental well-being, that trauma that's coming forth, that is going to be bigger than what any virus can do. And that is where our concerns are going to be, because when we have a lot of mental illness, there is a lapse within society about our cultural values, because people are getting very confused or frustrated and unable to come together, with it all. So just it's interesting. Anyways, that video is up on my Facebook page if you wish to watch it. It's very good, very informative, good questions. I listen to a lot of things. The young guy from Unheard, he's very, very well spoken and comes across, and he really tries to bring in both sides of a conversation, which is very it's great to listen to with it all. And it's really interesting to hear a lot of huge liberals starting to really question things on what is going on within society and what it all means. So I'm finding that very interesting, how many people's eyes are being opened, whether they are elixir or not elixir. It's just like, okay, this doesn't make sense. I don't care what color you are, but that doesn't make sense what you do. But then they turn it around and make it a race thing, and they're like, I didn't say anything about your race. I just said this, you didn't come into the whole truth, and you're supposed to have a Harvard degree. So where's the truth in this all? So it's interesting how things are unfolding in little ways. There's these little sparks that are coming out all over the place, to create that solid foundation. But right now, the earth is very unstable, very unstable, and the acceleration for things is very quick. So things are happening very fast. Things are going very quickly. And so we have to beware. We have to have faith. Have the faith. Be cautious and trust your intuition. This is really about us trusting the intuition, because logically, it may not make any sense at all. So, sending you all out such beautiful love today. I'm going to, with my grandson, we're going to go see Santa Claus today. And he's going to get his picture taken today with Santa. So we're quite excited. And I will be putting up my extravaganza auction later on. So we're going to have the fairy workshop going to be up there, the karmic release workshop. I'm going to have the spiritual cleansing one is going to be up there as well, the mediumship. So I'm going to have a lot of workshops going up today, plus my readings, and that will all be up for auction, plus mini readings. So the mini readings in your pocket are going to be up there as well. So sending you all out so much love. I'll have that up later on this afternoon. And so many blessings. And may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all that you do. Have a blessed one. Respect your anger. I'm respecting mine. And, and me having my outbursts, but it will happen. And I totally admit it, that there is frustration out there. So blessed be everybody. Be kind to one another and be kind to yourself. Bye-bye.